What's going on, guys? Will Morse here, bringing guys a brand new episode of Redskins Station. Now, obviously, this past weekend was the draft, so our first episode back is going to be about the draft. If you don't remember, it was the first time it was ever a virtual draft in NFL history due to the pandemic that's going around. But today we're going to go through every single draft pick, and before I start talking, I want to preface this with that since the draft, I have watched film on every single pick. At least some films, so I can talk about how they're playing, how much they can impact the team, and know what I'm talking about without just spitting out random stuff trying to make sense. So, number one, we talked about in the last episode, Chase Young. We all knew it was going to happen. Stoked to have him on the team. I mean, he's the best defensive prospect in the past decade. Some people say he's the best they've ever scouted coming out of college ever. Just so hearing that out of anybody that is a known draft scout is just amazing to hear. And I think Kyle Smith and Ron Rivera knew, obviously going ahead, that this was going to be the pick. And I think they had a great draft overall. He's a monster. He's a beast. Like I said I think I said this in the last video, but I'll say it again anyway. I don't know if he's going to start. I think he's going to split with Kerrigan. I think different packages will require either Kerrigan or Young. I think that's scary for all defenses, knowing that, we have two very athletic guys at the same position that can come in and out. So either way, you're facing a monster of a person, whether that's Kerrigan or Young. So I think obviously that's going to cause some problems for a lot of teams. Our second pick was actually in the third round, because last year we traded our second round pick to Indianapolis Colts, so we got Montez Sweat. We got Antonio Gibson out of Memphis. This guy is a beast. Ron Rivera noted him as a Christian McCaffrey type player. He played a slot. He can play running back. He can be third down back. I expect we should see him all around the field on offense. He's a big playmaker. He can go up and get the ball. He can be in the middle of four people, make one juke move, and they're all gone, and he's running towards the field, to the end zone. So I think he is just a great pick. A lot of people are kind of sleeping on that pick. A lot of people kind of brushed over. And my favorite thing is what he said in his interview after the draft. They said, "Do you want to be known as a receiver or a running back?" He says, "I want to be known as a weapon." I think that speaks to how he wants to play. He doesn't care what position he is. He just wants to make sure he makes an impact on the field. I think we're going to see him in a lot of positions in preseason. This preseason is going to be interesting for him and a couple other players, especially in the running back group, because we had a field group with J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber, of course, Darius Geis, Adrian Peterson, Bryce Love, depending on what happens there. It's a big group, and there's a couple more, but that's just a big group right there. And we might end up picking up another one. I hope not, because I think we got enough as is. But it's a loaded room, and we're going to have to narrow it down. We can't keep all of them on the roster. So I think Antonio Gibson's going to have it's going to be a big thing for him to make a good preseason, so he gets put onto the team, because when you're a flex player like that, you have to show out or you're not going to make the team, because you're not necessarily a key position. Like, you're not either a receiver or running back, you're both. So it's like either that gives you the advantage or disadvantage. So we'll see how it plays out for him in the preseason. Our next pick was offensive tackle. Let me read the name. I'm sorry if I pronounce these names wrong. Sadiq Charles. That might be it. He was a big part of that offense at LSU with Joe Burrow and Thaddeus Moss. That'll be the one undrafted pick I talk about today. He's really good. He's obviously filling in Trent Williams' shoes. Those are some massive shoes to fill in. Literally. And we all know what happened there. I'm gonna have a video talking about what I thought about the whole entire Trent situation, but that's not about the draft, so we're going to talk about the draft. So he's a big guy. He's a big, strong. He can get the guy off the edge and make sure he doesn't get to the quarterback. On the film that I watched, he was very good at protecting Joe Burrow's blind side. Now, with that comes some character issues. That's not an abnormal thing, and I think Ron Rivera is the perfect guy to set him straight get him in the building and get him producing at a high level. So I wouldn't really worry too much about his character issues because they said the same thing about Darius Geis, and I think he proved everybody wrong. They said he had character issues, wasn't a good teammate. I think he is one of the best, legitimate best people in the NFL right now, personality-wise. I think he's such a caring. He loves the fans. He's always giving back. So I wouldn't really worry too much about the character concerns, but he's a big guy. He can work on his handwork a little bit. That's one thing he needs to work on a little bit, but I'm sure with the likes of Chase Roulier and Brandon Sheriff and Morgan Moses, they'll get him in there, and he'll be competing for a starting job because nobody has starting jobs between him, Cornelius Lucas, and Jerron Christian. So I think all three of them can battle it out for a starting position, and with him being a mid-draft pick, he might have an upper hand for this season. But Sean Rivera, everybody is on the same level right now. He hasn't had a season with anybody, and he's not holding anybody over anybody. So I'm very excited for Sadiq, and we'll see what happens. You might be thinking, man, I've been flying through these picks so far, and we only got 8. That's because I'm really excited to get to this one. If you don't know, this fall I'll be attending Liberty University, and this next guy is from Liberty University. LU, go Flames. Antonio Gandy Golden, round 4, pick 142. He's just an outstanding guy. I hate that I missed attending Liberty with him by 1 year because it's a chance to be at the same time he would just be exciting. I've watched him for the past couple of years, and I'm like, this guy's a freak athlete. I said, and I knew he got interviewed by the Redskins. I'm like, it's a dream scenario we pick him up, but that's not going to happen. And somehow we did. I don't know how. I'm so ecstatic. I was just wanting to go and just run around everywhere when he got picked because I was just so excited. There's 3 people I wanted the Redskins to get in this draft: Chase Young, Antonio Gandy Golden, and Thaddeus Moss. Somehow we ended up with all 3 of them. And Antonio Gandy Golden, he's a beast. He's a monster. He's like a Jerry Rice, your Julio Jones. Like, you can put him in one. He can catch the ball. He has strong hands. He can carry somebody down the field into the end zone that's on his back. He is just an outstanding player. So I think he's going to be, I don't know if you have seen, but he has actually been rumored, like around wrestling pages and supposedly from coaches, that he has a chance to start. He and Kelvin Harmon are going to be battling out for that second receiver 2 position. So I think it's going to be a good battle because they're both big guys with strong hands. So it's whoever shows out more in training camp in the preseason. He's going to be good. He has a good background. This guy's just a beast at life. He learned how to play guitar. There's so many things he can do. He can bowl a perfect game. He can do a Rubik's Cube in under a minute. I mean, it's just amazing what he is capable of. He's learning guitar now. I might have already said that. He can do anything, basically. Anything he puts his mind to, he can do it. And I'm excited to see him in the burgundy and gold. I'm hyped. This is the LU. I'm excited to go there this fall. And I think most people kind of slid him under the rug because he's from Liberty and they don't call him a big school, which is a lie because they're a huge school. And it's only getting bigger, especially in the sports area. And I'm glad that I'll be able to witness it going into the next 3 or 4 years. So I'm excited about this pick. I'm going to be at training camp. I worked training camp last summer. Don't know if I'm going to do it this summer, but I'm going to be there chanting LU trying to meet Antonio. Next is round 5. Keith Ishmael. My mutilated the pronounce of that name. But Keith Ishmael, he's a center from San Diego State. Now, watching his film, what I noticed, he can get beat. But when he gets beat, he catches up to the guy that beat him and gets right back in front of him. And that's obviously he's not going to be starting. He's going to be behind Chase Roulier. So he's kind of gets it and kind of learn from Chase, who's in my opinion, one of the best centers in the league right now. Very underrated. But he is obviously a very good player. He's very good depth. Nothing too crazy. I mean, when you're talking about an offensive lineman drafted, you have to be very specific what you want to talk about because it's very hard to really get nitty gritty with some of these players because unless you just like have them under a microscope, it's hard to pick out what they're really good at, what they're really bad at. But he is really good. He's a power force. He can push any guy any direction you need him to. He can get beat, but like I said, he'll get right back in front of him, and he's a great blocker. Our next pick is linebacker Kaliki Hudson. Now this is an interesting one for me. I watched his tape, and he's out of Michigan. He's very fast. He can get to the ball. I think we got a steal from what I saw. I think, similar to the Chase Young, Ryan Kerrigan, Montez Sweat's the starter on the other side. But I think it would be interesting to see Kalecki get some reps in Montez Sweat's position. And so when we have packages, we can alternate Kerrigan and Young and Sweat and Hudson. If Hudson plays out like he did in college, he's scary. And I mean, he is scary. So I think we need to keep an eye on him because I think he is a very versatile linebacker. Maybe he can play the end. I think he's going to be very good. And I think coming off the edge, he can be a very monstrous force, very underrated. And I believe that we got a steal out of him. Seeing him and Sweat, I think, at that position, because he comes off the same side most of the time that Sweat does. So I think Ron Rivera is going to pair him over there and rotate him out during the camp and preseason. And some of these packages from this team are just outstanding because, especially on the D-line and linebackers, our depth is just... I can't explain how amazing our depth is back there. So I'd be very excited, and I would look very much at Kaliki Hudson. Round 7, Cameron Curl out of Arkansas. This guy, he can strip the ball. He's very good. He can eye down the guy with the ball and know exactly where he's going. He's very fast. He's quick to the ball. He's a big solid hitter. He knows he can just wrap up and take him to the ground. I think he's a great pick for round 7. His film was very impressive. I was very impressed by it. I think he's going to be a great pick going forward. Obviously, we need some more in the safety position. With the Shazer, Landon, Sean, and Troy. So I think he's going to be a very big player in that area. And don't sleep on Kendall Fuller playing some safety. Just talking about that for a second. I wouldn't sleep on him getting some reps back at safety because he did for the Chiefs. Like Cameron Curl, quick to the ball, very good eyes, and he can strip it. I mean, he has Josh Norman's peanut punch, as I would call it. He can just knock his fist in there and that ball is out. So I'll be very excited. He's the first one to pick it up and take it to the end zone. Last, out of NC State, is James Smith-Williams. Not a whole lot of very big film on him. He was a very good guy. He's a very good player. He's a local guy. He's very quick to the ball. He can put some pressure on the lineman. I think his main thing will be putting pressure on the O lineman. So the rest, like Smith, Kerrigan, and not Smith, Young, Kerrigan, Sweat, and maybe Hudson and Allen and Ioannidis and Payne. I think you can stick him in there, draw some people, and then they can swarm the quarterback. Because that's the thing about our defense. You can't block them all. You can't block everybody. Somebody's going to get around to the quarterback, which is just scary. So I think that's one reason they've built that up there. They're going to build that front and then build the defensive backs. Because the faster and better your D-line is, the less you have to worry about your defensive backs because the ball is not getting to them because the quarterback's on the ground or the running back's on the ground. So I think that's exciting. He's a good depth player. I don't say a guarantee he's gonna make the roster, but everybody's gonna have an opportunity. I hope the best for him. I hope he shows out. But obviously, those are all the draft picks. My favorite one is Antonio Gandy Golden. I'm also very excited for Chase Young, but we've already known that. I feel like the hype around him is almost dead because we knew he was coming, so the hype's been around for the past 4 months. And Thaddeus Moss out of LSU, undrafted because of the foot fracture. Very good player. Was a big part of the LSU offense late in the year with Joe Burrow into the championship. Son of Randy Moss, can go up and get the ball. I think he might have a shot at starting over Logan Thomas, which they say is their number 1 right now. I don't know where Jeremy Sprinkle's in all this because he's been there the longest, but I haven't really heard his name tossed around by the coaches. So I'll be looking very closely at Thaddeus Moss. Him and Bryce Love are both questionable with foot injuries, but when they heal, but I think both of them are huge playmakers. I'm super excited for Thaddeus Moss. I thought we were going to pick him maybe in round 5. He fell, and we got him. I think we should all give the Redskins draft people some good credit, and hope you'll have a great week. Stay safe. HGTR, love you Redskins Nation, the best station for Redskins Nation. Make sure to subscribe, like the video. I'll see you next time. Peace.